Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. Because it is, in fact, the same day as we record the last video, my throat is still in a vicious state of disarray from Cairns and Bali. So, James, I'm going to ask you once again to take the helm and hit us with the news stories for the rest of the region.
Yeah, so for anyone who didn't watch the other episode we've recorded, we've had to split the stories into two stories to cover the last 2 weeks. There were so many stories that we've had to split it over two episodes covering specific geographies. This is basically everywhere apart from Australia and India. So we are starting in Singapore with DayOne announcing new equity financing.
Yeah, this is their Series C, which is the pre-IPO financing. So there's an opportunity for people to put some more capital in here. This is, in VC circles, I think this is widely regarded as the round where you firm up the valuation and show that the existing investors are committing at a fair valuation and not undervaluing before IPO. And obviously continuing to raise because DayOne, although they both have big pipeline, DayOne has so much capacity that's under construction, under development. So they are obviously chewing through capital right now. Their portfolio is pretty substantial.
Yeah, $4.5 billion led by Coatue, never know if that's how you say it, and Hillhouse. This article is citing those two now as their largest shareholders, but also then gives reference to Indonesian Investment Authority, which is basically their sovereign, and Achi Capital Partners. Never come across them before, so apologies if I'm butchering the name. And then it just goes on to talk about all the different areas where they've got development. So Southeast Asia, Japan, and then a number of their Hong Kong, obviously, as well. And then a number of the interesting sites, which they have primarily in Europe, but some of this may go into sites further afield. So, yeah, congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this will be really one to watch because AirTrunk explored the IPO route. Several other companies have talked about IPOs, STT included, in fact. This is also a novel preparation for them going down the SGX/Nasdaq as a dual listing. There'll be plenty of regulatory hurdles to jump through. DayOne's obviously marketing this as a global platform where there's a very heavy exposure to Southeast Asia and there's very heavy exposure to both US and Chinese tech companies. But yeah, so this will be a really interesting one to unpack, and we'll see. Although, frankly, in modern IPOs, that could just be that could all be swept aside for lots of excitement and everyone making a lot of money. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, congratulations to the DayOne team on this big Series C.
Yes, sticking with DayOne, they've signed a very interesting 1.5 gigawatt renewable supply deal with TNB. This is in Malaysia, so agreements tied to mounted solar and hydro floating solar projects, 1.5 gigawatts of solar capacity and they're switching up the unit measurement now, 2.0 gigawatt hours of battery storage energy as well. Pretty exciting project, this one. Let's just share the link to the article in this and let people read it themselves. But pretty significant development, this one, and shows, just how serious they are.
Yeah, I'd like to I actually haven't read too much on this specific project, but I've historically been a big fan of these kind of hybrid storage, hydro, solar. There's lots of the criticisms that are leveled at solar's intermittency that can be fixed with these kind of solutions. Maybe we'll try and get Verghese on the show. We had Jamie on for interview recently, but I think this is probably more of a technical question to get the detail on how this power is going to be distributed. But looks like a really exciting one, and certainly one of the biggest ones I think we've reported in Malaysia by some distance.
Yeah, interesting point. I'm just reading the quote attributed to Jamie here. We are proud to be TNB's large, paraphrasing here. We are proud to be, I'm not paraphrasing, I'm selecting the quote. Let's get back here. We are proud to be TNB's largest customer and contribute to the stability of the national grid. This partnership strengthens our ability to grow in Malaysia with greater energy resilience while supporting our customers' sustainability ambitions. There you go.
That's that said then. That's more succinctly said than I said, even with the cherry picking. What's the other Malaysia story? Alibaba?
Yeah, Alibaba, new cloud region, and this time in Johor. So this is their latest cloud region, being serviced out of 2 facilities in Johor that may expand in the future, but expands Ali's presence to 104 availability zones and 32 regions. It's actually their second region in Malaysia, which the first being in KL. So again, anyone who ever listens to me talk about Malaysia will note that I do really really highlight it being two distinct markets. So the first cloud region has actually been open for ages, 2017, so nearly a decade in this time. But yeah, it just shows, again, the resilience and the commitment to Johor.
Yeah, and I wonder if this, because they've taken down much larger chunks of capacity than used to be the case for Ali. No mention here of their customer profile or whether it's AI cloud or whatever. They probably don't talk about that in these announcements. But yeah, new regions, new scale, exciting stuff for Ali.
Moving on to Indo. So this time we're talking about BDX. This is 2 weeks old, this announcement, but still definitely worth talking about. They've signed agreements for 1.2 gigawatts of energy with PLN. So PLN is the utility provider in Indonesia, of course. It's interesting because it's across a couple of their different sites. So they've got their CGK4 site, which is the AI campus in the furthest east, if I'm not mistaken. Then they've got CGK3, which is South Jakarta. Then they've got the site CGK5 in Suryapta. So yeah, a number of sites all over the place, but like this is, obviously a significant amount of energy, an exciting development for BDX where, they're really looking to double down on their Indo strategy.
Yeah, it's similar to what we talked about in the other episode with the step change in India. We think about it that BDX's current facilities in Jakarta, according to the press releases here, 60 MBA. There's obviously the smaller ones that they acquired from Indosat. And so this is going to be embarking on an absolute monster construction project. It's exciting stuff for them, but no doubt, again, similar to we commented on AirTrop, this is a real step change in execution.
We've got 7 minutes left, so let's get through these last ones quickly. We're going back to Malaysia. My bad, I had the tabs in the wrong order. Malaysia's Tanco signs MOU with China Mobile International, I should add, for a potential 50 megawatt site in Port Dickson. So Port Dickson we've been reporting on because it's not really it's greater KL, but this is where Google are developing a site, and it looks like these guys, Tanco, may also develop a site with CMI here. It'll be interesting. It's just an MOU, so as mentioned on the previous episode, may lead to nothing, but interesting to see a new player and CMI deploying at scale in Malaysia.
Yeah, I've not heard of Tanco, but China Mobile historically acts as a bit of a market entryway to new sites for some of the Chinese hyperscalers. Maybe this is a bullish signal on Port Dickson.
Yes. Yeah. It's obviously it's good enough for Google. It's going to be good enough for a number of other firms. Switching tack, let's go to Taiwan. So again, DDSP, Digital Decarbonization Solutions Platform. We've already spoke about them certainly seriously first time a couple of weeks ago when they'd unveiled their involvement in a site up in Johor. They've hot on the heels of that. They've now announced the completion of a financing transaction with Nomura in support of their 80 megawatt development in Taiwan.
Yeah, this is the same campus. So we have talked about these guys. Obviously, we've known Fred and Wandrill for a long time, but we've talked on the show about the Taiwan development with Keppel. So this, I believe, is financing for expansion on the same site, but I'm not sure if that's still with Keppel as the operator or a different strategy here, or rather I am sure, but it's not in the press release.
So there you go. But now, congratulations. That's like obviously another significant deal, unnamed hyperscale customer. I think again, a lot of people know who that is, but no, fair play. Great job, everyone at the DDSP team and to Keppel for getting that. We're now switching to South Korea, but also sticking on Keppel. So Keppel announced that they are going to be developing a data center in Seoul. That is a private fund, Keppel Data Center Fund 3, secured land to develop a 60 megawatt site in Ansan. So Keppel has got a number of different divisions which are loosely tied together, but all do slightly different things in the space. But they're going to be doing this in conjunction with Shinyang Securities and Hyundai ENC. So yeah, like Keppel have been looking into this market for quite a while, but it looks like they've actually got everything secured now. Talks about permits, secured power, et cetera, tier 3 data center, which will be live in 2030.
That's interesting because I hadn't heard of Ansan until about yesterday. And that's also where Digital Edge's new Korea site, which is the next story, is going. This is SEL5, a 60 megawatt facility. You can get the location Google Maps up. So Ansan is like towards the North Korean border. It's, I'm sure, very fast on the South Korean train, but it's out of Seoul a bit.
No,
It's south of Seoul, but it's
yeah, you got that completely wrong.
the picture I zoomed out too far. So it looks further from Seoul than it is.
Yeah, it's a location that's been pitched for literally since we started DC Buy. Like one of our first engagements was actually looking at a site down here. It's been people have been talking about it for the longest time. It's had challenges, or essentially it wasn't sitting immediately where the hyperscalers wanted it to be in terms of AZs, etc. But it always been touted. So yeah, in quick succession, we've obviously got that Keppel story, and yeah, Digital Edge, to your point of just, they've also acquired land for a 60 megawatt site, which is interesting.
Yes, this makes Digital Edge, I would guess, now must be the biggest foreign non-Korean player in Korea. They get this alongside the Incheon, Busan, SEL1. Yeah, they've got quite a few up there now. Exciting times in Korea. Is that all of the North Asia stories?
No, so yeah, just gonna have to, we've got 90 seconds. So SK Telecom selling minority stake in their Ulsan site. So hoping to get 1.3 billion for it. Interesting. Caramco and DCI. This is an interesting one. This deserves more time than we're probably giving it, but they've broken ground on their 40 megawatt site, also in South Korea for the Ansan. So again, in Ansan, DCI have been very successful, like them as Digital Edge. They've been very successful in this market with foreign operators you have. So again, congratulations on that landmark. Neighbor to deploy 55 megawatts of NVIDIA hardware. Yeah, it's just AI stuff. SK Telecom plots gigawatt scale AI cloud in South Korea with NVIDIA. So again, more AI stuff. Let's report on that as it's more concrete. And final story, which again, Indonesia, we've got the order slightly wrong on this one. STT launches new data center Jakarta, starts work on 2 more. They had the launch ceremony for STT Jakarta 2 and the topping out of STT Jakarta 3, and simultaneously the groundbreaking of STT Jakarta 5 and STT Jakarta 6. So these projects are 100 megawatts, and then that campus, once fully built out, is over 300, does it say here? Yeah, 360 megawatts. Yeah, a lot going on there, and that's going to be a big campus that STT have there.
Yeah, that one is off the charts, and we are out of time.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed the marathon 30 minutes of Data Center News Asia this week.